This is Ariana Pettigo interviewing Nicole Pettigo Manley. It is May 2nd, 2020. Hi, Nicole. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you.
So, how has the recent coronavirus pandemic affected your life?
I'd say in the biggest way, I work and then I'm also a mom, so I've had to learn how to juggle doing all those things from home. My job typically isn't at home, so there's been a lot of shifting and changing and getting used to having our dining room as an office slash kindergarten room, and our office turning into a rotating door of whoever has a Zoom call or a Google Hangout or a Teams chat that we have to constantly rotate between myself, my fourth grader, and my husband. So it's been quite hectic.
So, what's it like homeschooling from home?
I'd say it's pretty difficult. With our fourth grader, it's a little bit easier just because a lot of his work is online. There's like a very structured outline of things that they have to do. A lot of things the teacher actually gets online with the Google Hangout and does the classes with them. With the fourth grade or with the kindergartner, it's a little bit harder just because you never realize how much a kindergarten teacher interacts and talks to the children. But I thought at first that I could have Gavin, my kindergartner, next to me while I was working and taking calls myself. And what I discovered is there were some things I could kind of give to him and him be able to do on his own. But then there was a lot of times I had to stop and pause and say, hey, wait till mom's done. And we're going to have to do that together because it's just a lot of, teaching how to measure and actually going and finding the things and measure them and just having those connection points because he doesn't know those things yet, and so you really have to, teach them. So just a lot more talking and hands-on activities. So definitely we've had to figure out how to do a little bit of work, have him go do some things on his iPad like iReady or read books, to take his little AR quizzes later during those times where I have to be engaging with work as far as like communication, talking for meetings, or having conversations with my team members on projects.
So, is it a struggle to balance both your work and teaching your kids at the same time?
Yes, definitely. I mean, if you think about it, you have a full-time teacher, and then, I work full-time. So to have a full-time job, and I do manage 5 people on my team. So to do my job, manage my team and the projects that they're doing, and also them having to learn how to work from home, which they typically are in an office environment, and then also trying to orchestrate teaching, it's quite a challenge. So we're definitely doing things in a as we can kind of way throughout the day. So sometimes we'll have to, like I said, start things in the morning and then finish them in the afternoon. But we're figuring it out and getting it done. I said the first 2 weeks were the most stressful. We've started to figure out more of a pattern, and we've just kind of realized that we're going to have to be flexible with work and school just to make sure that we're getting everything done and being able to spend the focused time that we need on all the different things.
So, how does your work alter from when you were at work versus at home?
Well, what I do is I work in a product development merchandising area. I also manage our graphics team. So there's a lot of meetings that we have throughout the day where we're working on different projects, whether it be new product development, which is very hands-on. You're looking at materials, you're looking at elastics, we're looking at different construction types, and what options we want to go with. So all those things are very critical to see in person, and also there's a touch point. When you're picking out different fabrics. Do you want a soft brush fabric or a sleek fabrication? So those type of things you can't do at home. You can't do through a Zoom call or a Teams meet. So we're really having to alter, some of the, newer developments and push those to a back burner right now until we can figure out how we can get back in the office and be able to work on those types of projects. So really having to reprioritize some of the things we can do from home. So for example, we have to do a lot of work where we're looking at, our product lines and what has been selling with our retailers and what hasn't been. And so really trying to formulate, what are some white space areas and some opportunities that we have. Also going back and working with my graphic artist, there's some things where she would typically work on creating presentation boards that we would show in a meeting. Right now, we're not utilizing those types of materials because all of our new product line meetings are done through Zoom or a Teams meeting, and it's really focused on product that we already have created. So those type of meetings I'm conducting, but this graphic artist is kind of waiting for her next project. So thinking about things that she can do while she's at home, she creates original prints that we use like in our product lines. So she has already started to map out print development for the rest of the year and getting ahead of that instead of doing it, throughout the year in different quarters. She's doing a lot of that work now. So this way, when we're back in the office, we'll be able to focus on some of those other projects and needs. So it's been a lot.
So are you all reopening?
We do not know at this point when we're reopening the office. I know based on the different phases that the governor's putting out and, some of the states opening things like hair salons and retail. And as those things start to open, I'm sure as a company we'll start to get direction on how we can reopen and then what those guidelines would be. My husband's company has actually already reopened some of their offices, and on their LinkedIn they actually posted a video on like how going into the office now they're sanitizing their hands, they're putting on a mask, there's someone there to take their temperature and log that, and in the meeting rooms they're sitting distance from each other. So it's definitely going to be a different world whenever we do go back.
And would you say that there have been positive or negative experiences that you've had amid all of this?
Yeah, I would say the positive is that it's been wonderful to be at home with my family. We are all constantly on the go between school and sports and extracurricular activities. And then traditionally with my job, I would be traveling a lot more. Right now, there's no travel associated with the job. So it's been really nice to just be at home and hang out and, it kind of forces you to learn how to cook a little bit more and spend some time cleaning out your closet that you usually don't have. So I'd say that's been a lot of fun. And of course, getting to spend more time with the boys. They're constantly around me, so that's great. I'd say the negative is, we have had to have a reduction in pay. We've had to take some weeks where we didn't work for full hours, which you have a savings account and you always plan for things like this to happen, but you don't think that you're ever going to be saving for a pandemic or having to be out of work for, a long amount of time. And, since I manage 5 people, we all have different living situations, and just knowing that, a lot of those people depend on their weekly paycheck and their income. It's just stressful as a leader to not know what's next. When you're in a typical business setting and sales are down and things aren't going well and you have to do layoffs or make hard decisions, usually you're making those decisions because right now, because we're facing something none of us have ever experienced before. We don't know the timelines, and because things being closed impacts what we do, and until things are back to normal or what the new normal will be, it's just really hard and stressful because I have some really great team members and I don't want them to lose their job or them to have to seek out a different job because of this. So definitely tough.
Do you know anybody who has the coronavirus?
So I don't know anyone personally that has experienced the coronavirus, but one of my former supervisors, her husband had the coronavirus, and he is in Kentucky, and he went to a hospital and was treated and was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. He did have to be put on a ventilator. He was not a high risk person, so he went in and came out and is recovering, and they've all quarantined at home, and I haven't seen her or anything, but he did make a good recovery from the coronavirus. It's only been about a week, maybe a week and a half since he's been home, but so far so good, but I know.
That's good. So how have you been using social media through the coronavirus pandemic?
So I am typically not much of a social media user for two reasons. My life is so busy that I really, and I work a lot and I travel a lot with work. And so because we're working and the boys are at school all the time during the day, I really try to make sure that at night and on the weekends that I'm not on social media, that I'm spending time engaging with the boys, reading books, having those interactions. I don't want my kids to grow up and remember their mom as always being on the phone, because I have to get on my phone or my laptop for work sometimes at night and engage in a project that wasn't completed or something that might have to be done. I just really want to make sure that, my time that isn't needed for being on the computer or on the phone isn't just sitting there scrolling through a bunch of stuff. I really want to make sure that my time is really spent, with my family or, engaging my own life, not watching others. So I'm not a huge social media person to begin with. I do like to post things to continue to connect with my family. My husband's family is not close, so they don't get to see our boys grow up as much. And so in person, so I really try to make sure that if there's like a baseball picture or something fun we're doing, that I post that. But I do have a sense of privacy around the amount that I post, and then also not posting it in real time. I usually tend to be that person who's a later gram. So I haven't really changed a lot in that sense about like oversharing or adding a bunch to social. I do a lot of group texts and things with my family really to stay connected during this. It's been a lot of fun to, have a family Zoom call where we got to engage with each other since we couldn't meet up for Easter, which was really nice. Which really helped my boys too, because they were pretty sad that we didn't get to meet with the family and hang out. So that was great. And then also, because I've had a little bit more time, for my job, I've done a lot more research online as far as like what, our competition is out there and how they're engaging in social media with different customers, and actually had the opportunity to work with our team on some different ideas. So it's kind of been personally not a big change, but then professionally, just being more mindful of some of the content that's out there. And then, of course, using Zoom and some of the video chats and conferences with, work has been different and new instead of meeting in person. And then, of course, like I mentioned with the family, that's been a lot of fun as well. And since Derby's canceled this year, we're actually, some of my girlfriends, we're going to have a Derby chat. We're all going to wear old fascinators that we've worn for past Derbies. And we're all going to create like a mint julep or a pink lily and just hang out and just spend some time talking this afternoon, since we can't all get together for a Derby party. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's been awesome talking to you.